Hey there, Alex here. This is the iPhone 10, the actual new iPhone that everybody has been looking forward to. It's clearly Apple's vision of how iPhones should be in the future. So let's take a closer look at the iPhone 10 and see if it's any good. The first thing you'll notice when you pick up an iPhone 10, other than how deceptively heavy it is of course the brand new 5.8-inch Super Retina HD display that covers almost the entire front of the phone. It has this notch at the top of the screen to house a few other hardware components, but I got used to it pretty quickly. It's not the most elegant looking, but it works. It's the first iPhone that uses an OLED panel, and it looks pretty incredible. The colors are well tuned and not oversaturated. With that new screen also comes a slight learning curve. Let's start with the lack of Touch ID. Instead of using fingerprints, it uses your face instead, and it's called Face ID. It works well enough in most situations, but it did take me a bit of time to learn the right distance to get it to work reliably. After a while, I realized that most of the time I'm just swiping up to unlock the phone straight away without even thinking about it. With one less button to work with, things can get a little messy at times, like the power button is not really just the power button anymore. You long press to activate Siri, double tap to launch Apple Pay. If you want to power off the phone, it's a 2-button combination now. You get the idea. Without a home button, you swipe up to go home. To see recent apps, it's a swipe up and hold. To clear recent apps, you need to long press it first. Now that the swipe up gestures has been taken up, you swipe down from the right corner to get to Control Center. All these gestures are going to take a bit of time to get used to. If you have used WebOS or BlackBerry 10, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll get used to it eventually, and once you do, it's actually quite intuitive. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a faster way of doing things compared to having a home button, but this is how it's going to be in the future when you don't even have room for a home button anymore. Other than that, the software and hardware are pretty much what you get on the iPhone 8, so I won't talk too much about it. Basically, no matter whether it's graphically intensive games or just browsing through a forum, it's going to perform really well. While battery life is somewhere in between the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, an interesting little tidbit here is that the iPhone 10 actually has a slightly larger battery than the iPhone 8 Plus. I've never been caught short before the day is over, so no complaints from me here. The main difference in experience here is probably going to be apps that haven't been updated to suit this new taller screen. Unfortunately, that's just the price to pay for being an early adopter. Like the iPhone 8 Plus, you get a pair of cameras on the back, but with some minor differences like a wider aperture and optical image stabilization on the telephoto camera. This means better image and video quality, which is always nice to see. One of the main reasons for the dual camera setup is portrait mode, and this time round there is something called portrait lighting. It uses the depth information available to simulate different types of lighting. It's fun to play with and you can sometimes get great results from it, but only if the camera is able to detect the ages of the person properly. It is still in beta, so it's something that will get better with time. With the new True Depth front camera system used for Face ID, we now get portrait mode for the front camera too, which I think is actually more useful for most people. Unfortunately, it's not really that great at detecting the ages, and often the effect looks rather unnatural. It's a bit of a shame considering Apple was the one who started this whole portrait mode trend, but the Google Pixel 2 achieves a better looking shot most of the time with just a normal front camera. Of course, if you consider turning yourself into a talking poop emoji an essential feature, then sure, the iPhone 10 will be the better option for you. Anyway, if we are talking about just taking normal photographs, the iPhone 10 does an excellent job at that. The image processing, like I mentioned in my iPhone 8 review, tends to look a bit more vibrant than older iPhones, which I do like, and that's a conscious choice on Apple's part. Auto HDR mode also works really well at bringing out more light in the shadows, so most of the time it's really just point and shoot. It's a really effortless camera to use to capture great looking images. It's also able to capture 4K footage in 60 frames per second, which I can't really show on this video, and also 240 frames per second slow motion footage in 1080p. This is perhaps the best showcase of how fast the new hardware is. I normally start a review by talking about the design and build of the phone, but for the iPhone 10, I'm leaving it to the last because I'm still not quite sure what to think of it. Blindfolded, it feels every bit like a premium phone with those stainless steel sides and glass back. Looking at the front of the phone, it looks amazing, but I'm not quite sure I like how it looks on the back though. Maybe the camera bump is just a little bit too big. But the good thing is, you'll probably have the phone in a case and screen protector at all times, since it's not exactly cheap to repair if you break it. And of course, the usual IP67 rating is still here, wireless charging is still here, and the headphone jack is still not here. But the stereo speakers do sound really good though. This is without a doubt the best iPhone that Apple makes, and clearly the way iPhones are going to be in the future. The main thing stopping me from recommending this to everyone though is the price. At 1,648 Singapore dollars for the base model, it doesn't do nearly enough to justify the price tag. In some ways, you actually have to live with a slightly less seamless experience, and you have to wait until more app developers update their apps to this new screen size. Apple doesn't even give you the fast charger here, it's just a standard package you get on an iPhone 8. Other than minor improvements to the camera hardware, the new screen, and Face ID, the iPhone 8 series provides largely the same experiences and hardware. So while the iPhone 10 looks like a phone from the future, it doesn't quite live up to how it looks just yet. Thanks for watching my review of the iPhone 10. If you like what you saw, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, and see you guys on the next one.